he's always going into these like personal anecdotes of, I have friends who wore a glucose monitor and it changed their life.
I've personally had friends who've utterly changed their lives just from wearing a glucose meter.
Welcome back to Making It Awkward. I'm Jessica Wilson, dietitian and author of It's Always Been Ours. This is an independent podcast by people who are willing to offer up their bodies to science while they're still alive and let Casey Means do whatever she wants with the data. You can watch video of this show on YouTube and Spotify, and you can support the show by rating, subscribing, commenting, leaving an Apple Podcast review, and of course, joining the Patreon. You can find me on Instagram at jessicawilson.msrd. Today, Selena Salfen, resident expert on RFK advisors Casey and Callie Means, comes back to the show to talk about constant glucose monitors, or CGMs, and presumptive Surgeon General Casey Means' CGM company levels. Selena and I have decided to wear a CGM for August and contrast and compare our experiences. You'll hear about our reasons for doing so in today's episode. Constant glucose monitors are just one sibling in the family of wearable devices, including Fitbits, Oura Rings, and wearable clothing. These devices are supposed to play a role in helping the individual with vague quests like optimization and metabolic health. In addition to these buzzwords, we can add biometrics to this conversation. I want to find out whether the pairing of a CGM and the Levels app would capture my biometrics. But then what? Would I become optimized? Could I then control my metabolic health? Would I care? Is it helpful? RFK Jr. thinks it is.
Secretary Kennedy, my first question is that there is a tremendous amount of research that shows that greater engagement with one's health leads to better outcomes. In recent years, American innovators have created and improved wearable devices so that not only are consumers able to better engage with their health through monitoring data, but they are able to share that data with providers. I believe American consumers, in line with the 21st Century Cures Act, should be able to access these innovative wellness tools. Secretary Kennedy, do you agree that consumers should continue to have access to these tools?
Absolutely. In fact, we're about to launch one of the biggest advertising campaigns in HHS history to encourage Americans to use wearables. It's a way of people can take control over their own health. They can take responsibility. They can see, as you know, what food is doing to their glucose levels, their heart rates, and a number of other metrics as they eat it. And they can begin to make good judgments about their diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again. And we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
He was speaking at a health subcommittee hearing of the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. Specifically, they were talking about the Fiscal Health 2026 Department of Health and Human Services budget. And now you have an idea of where your taxpayer dollars will be going. And for a bit of context, Levels is an app. It's separate from the CGMs on the market. Levels doesn't have its own brand of CGM, but you can use the Levels platform to order a regular one, as I did for this experience. You won't be surprised to learn that the same CGM through Levels costs more than the same one you'd find otherwise. The Levels app connects with your CGM and gives you feedback in order to, say, fix or optimize your metabolic health. You tell the Levels app what you eat, how you feel, if you exercise, all about your sleep, and a bunch of other stuff. And with that information, you should go on to being your healthiest self. It will record your meal and give you feedback on your life choices based on it and what happened to your glucose after you ate it. An additional nugget of information is that Dr. Robert Lustig seems to be the primary medical contributor to Levels, something that I did not know until looking into Levels. He has 1 billion podcast episodes for the Levels platform, and we can click on topics directly from the app that take us to Lustig's thoughts. As discussed on this podcast, Lustig has been very critical of Casey Means since she aligned herself with RFK. He hasn't recorded any new episodes for Levels in a while, but Levels reruns his episodes as if they're all good. And I mean, if the money is good for Lustig, I bet he doesn't mind. Today is just an introduction. There's so much more to say about wearables and personal data. We'll definitely come back. We're going to jump right into it now. Hold on tight. There are already 2 updates to this experiment in the outro. One exciting and the other kind of annoying for me. Selena, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk about this topic today.
I am so excited. I've been mainlining Levels podcast episodes at 1.5 speed on any walk or any time I'm doing a meal. I'm trying to just, get it all in. But, that's impossible, but I've been enjoying the process. So I'm at 1.5 enthusiasm level to talk to you today.
Yeah, I've been listening them to after my kid goes to bed. So that's not the best thing to listen to before you go to sleep.
Before bed, Okay. To set up this experiment, actually you and Megan Saichi, who have been on the pod with me, were the ones to suggest this independently. Here we are. To set this up for folks, I have been trialing a ketogenic diet since January for my epilepsy. That deserves its own podcast, which will happen. Unfortunately, it's working, and we'll get into all of that later. With this ridiculously low carbohydrate diet, I've been wondering, can I eat more during exercise? What happens during exercise? Will I still stay in ketosis? I have a Peloton bike, as do you, which people will know if you've been listening previously. And they have this lovely function where it shows that for a ride that you've done before, it will compare or at least show you your output. So if you've done a ride 3 times or 1 time or 6 times, they show your output, which is a combination of your cadence and resistance. So the higher both are, the higher the output will be. And there is a stark difference in my output for 2024 and 2025 since I've been doing this. And I shouldn't care, right? Because I'm a normal person. But also, why am I competitive with myself is probably another episode in therapy session. But I am. And I'm just looking at this difference being like, wow, we knew that carbohydrates were important for exercise. And can I, eat some beforehand and this will be better, or can I eat some in the middle if it's a very, long ride? So you and Megan were like, oh, you could check this out with a CGM. Yes. My goal is to eat as many carbohydrates as possible.
Okay. So, and I also am interested in wearing a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM as we'll call them. I've actually tried them here and there, and I feel like they've been kind of helpful. At first, they made me a little bit obsessive, and then I started to do some research on understanding them. So I don't know, it's a helpful tool to have sometimes. But for me, I decided to have a child when I was 37, and that can be a little bit hard on the old metabolic health system. So I feel like it's something that I just might want to keep track of, not obsessively, but just learn some ways that my body responds to glucose. And yeah.
Totally. So there are reasons outside of, weight loss or anything for these CGMs, just wanting to put that out there. We're not going to use numbers or ranges today. I think we'll get into perhaps more of that when we're talking in a month about what we found in our month of CGM use. So yes, if folks are bothered by numbers, that will not be part of the conversation today. People know I love being an experiment of one, because so often experiments of one individual are in the news as something that is true for everyone. So, fun immersion of a CGM experience. And then, Selena, I realized while we were texting back and forth, not only could I do a CGM, I could do Dr. Casey Means CGM.
Yes. And I'm not willing to pay that much for that CGM. I have a generic CGM hooked up to the Levels app.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I'll be doing this for 1 month, because they have the 1 year or the 1 month cost. And I was all right. One month is what we're doing here.
Yeah. And I'm just paying $40. So I actually have this experiment started already, but we'll both be doing it full force in August. But I'm about to go on vacation. I just want to see what that's like. Maybe we'll see how my glucose reacts to a podcast too.
Definitely. We shall see.
So I have on good authority that Dr. Casey Means has not been involved with levels on a day-to-day basis for 3 years, but she is one of the founding members and she's still financially vested in it. So if there's any promotion of CGMs at the federal level, she will make a profit off of that.
I have found over and over again, as have you, that big pharma and big food and all of these, interests are lining the pockets of individual CEOs, et cetera. And I'm like, wow, big tech is lining the pockets of Robert Lustig, of Casey Means, of Callie Means.
Yes.
Which is what it comes down to. Because again, as you said, these things are not inexpensive at all. No. And it doesn't seem like that many people are involved in the process. So where's all that money going? And yes, if it gets a government contract, because wearable devices are going to be encouraged.
Yeah. And Levels has over 80,000 members, I think, right now. So that is a lot of money. And they're offering testing, and I signed up for that. So that'll be fun. They can have all my private health data.
Right?
Oh, and when I hooked the Stello, like the more generic one, up to the Levels app, I actually read what they had me sign. So basically, they were like, we cannot control what Levels does with your data.
Stop it.
Whatever. We're washing our hands of this. So I know I'm like in some system somewhere. Which is fun.
Okay. As dietitians, let's discuss what a CGM actually is, what we're told it can do, why we're supposed to use it. Do you want to kick us off?
Sure. So the CGM is a tiny wearable device with a little bitty needle. No, it does not hurt, in my opinion, when you install it on your arm. You can wear it on your upper arm or on your abdomen, and it measures the dermal interstitial fluid, which is really the fluid between the cells. And it's a proxy for blood glucose. So it's not actually measuring your blood. And until now, these were just for people with diabetes or with gestational diabetes. But now they've been available over the counter since 2024.
Oh, so not that long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a lot of companies that are getting into this right now with apps. But I think that the two main were like Dexcom and Abbott. They had, they've been in this business forever for people with medical need. But now they're just seeing this trend come up and are in it to maximize everyone's metabolic health.
Our drinking game for all of this will be 1, metabolic health, 2, insulin. And insulin resistance. So if folks are listening to any of these podcasts, get your beverages ready, because you will hear that 20,000 times. Okay.
I can also tell you the things that Level's looking at, or that someone without diabetes might be interested in.
Yes.
Okay. So we know that a CGM in someone without diabetes, like what all these companies are wanting us to look at is glucose variability. So that would be the changes in blood sugar, like throughout the day. And then they want us to notice if we have big spikes after eating, and then sort of looking at like fasting glucose. I guess it's not maybe the best measure. But yeah, I would say, and then they also want us to log our food, our exercise, our energy levels, which I'm getting really sick of on Levels. You will experience this soon. It's going to ask you every 10 minutes what your energy levels are.
No.
Yep.
Is it required?
No, you don't have to. But if you want to hit that smiley face, and yeah, you can.
Oh,
and
no. Okay.
AI will tell you how it correlates.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like they're really trying to kind of gamify eating, and make it fun,
Totally,
or less fun, actually, in some cases. And also, I think a good point is that there are currently no CGM guidelines for what they call a healthy patient population. So people without diabetes.
When I was over listening to Lustig talk about CGMs and insulin and blood glucose, his primary indicator for the use of a CGM is the spike after eating, but also how quickly it comes down, right? And his interpretation of this is how well our insulin is working, how it is able to effectively, lower blood sugar by taking it into our body, into our cells. And he is way more a fan of assessing insulin and insulin resistance more than blood sugar, because he thinks that insulin resistance is basically the cause of everything. Diabetes in our endocrine system, it can, cause PCOS. In our heart, it can cause cardiovascular disease. And in our brain, it can cause Alzheimer's disease. Okay.
Yes.
So that's why he wants us wearing the CGM, so we can get an accurate assessment of our insulin and insulin resistance. And also why he added it to the levels 2.0 lab test for levels, because he is so passionate about this. So,
he really shouted about that, didn't he?
He shouted. I'm okay. So we did listen to that. Yeah. So he takes the credit for that one.
Yes.
All right. So that's what the CGM is supposed to tell us, both blood sugar, but more importantly, insulin.
Yes. And of course, it doesn't tell us that, but we can interpret that our insulin might be messed up based on CGM readings, according to Lustig.
Yeah.
Maybe we can, but I don't know if we really need these tests.
You don't know if we really need these tests. Is that what you said?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to find out because I'm going to get one very soon.
Yes. And Lustig is also a fan of the CGM because in 2 weeks, that's all it takes. It's 2 weeks to see an improvement in your insulin sensitivity.
Yeah, we're going to find that out.
2 weeks. That's what we got to see.
An N of 2 this time. That's nice.
100% increase in our experiments. And if anybody wants to join, we'll say that too. Pop on in.
Yeah, join us. Maybe we even start a support group for people for freaking out about these things.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up. And we'll just get into that at the top. I was listening to an interview he did. It was Levels episode 265. How do you know if you are healthy and what your labs tell you? This one was with Lustig, of course, and Mike Hanley is how I'm going to pronounce his name. And at some point, Mike was, sharing all the questions that he gets from Levels members, because it seems like anytime anybody's glucose goes up, they just feel like they should start a ketogenic diet because they assume that any spike is negative. And so we pitched this to Lustig, and shockingly, well, not shockingly, his first line was one that Paul Saladino in his Carnivore-esque diet uses is, "We're all going to die."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if we're all going to die, why are we obsessing about this? But it's fine. We're all going to die. And when people get into the finer details of all of this, it's orthorexia. And I was like,
and Lustig said orthorexia.
Yes.
Wow.
I know. I was like, I don't disagree with you, sir. So
that's interesting, because sometimes I think these people think that eating disorders and disordered eating are just made up, or they'll all go away with the right something or another.
Sure.
Because I listened to another Levels episode with a radiologist.
Okay.
And he starts talking about how, who shouldn't, he recommends keto, and he recommends intermittent fasting or time restricted eating, whatever we're calling it, within an 8-hour window. Okay. But he talks about people who should not be doing that. And he lists, people who are on insulin, children. And then he doesn't go into anything like psychological reasons that you might not want to do that. And I find that to be a trend over and over with anything associated with Level, with Casey, Callie, Lustig, that they don't know our world at all.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, I, sir, agree about this orthorexia. And then it was just easy for him to say, like, so don't do that. So don't obsess about it.
Okay.
Keep using the CGM, but just don't obsess about it. I was like, that's totally how brains work. Cool.
Yeah, and it makes it a little hard when the app is sending you notifications constantly to be obsessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah, this will be interesting because just keeping my calories at 80% ultra processed foods for a month was annoying. So this is going to be great. I'm so excited. Can't wait.
I want to talk about something, and I want to like call myself out in this situation because I feel like I always want to say, oh, I'm going to be wearing a CGM, but I don't have diabetes. But I don't have, I feel that diabetes stigma coming on because I'm afraid that someone's going to stigmatize me. So my blood glucose was not awesome when I was pregnant, but I never technically got diagnosed with the gestational diabetes. But I feel like that's an interesting pull for me to want to be like, but I wasn't, but I didn't, Yeah. Because I think by wearing this, I will show myself that I'm not perfect. So cool. I'm 45. I want to be okay with that. But I think I want to leave room for it being okay to have insulin resistance.
Yeah.
And not make that your biggest priority in life to bring it down.
Right. The interviewer that I named earlier shared his fasting insulin level, and Lustig said, "Ooh, I'm jealous." So, like, does that mean yours is quote high? Like, what are we doing here?
Another thing that causes insulin resistance is, according to the research, weight cycling, weight stigma, weight dissatisfaction. So independent of BMI, doesn't matter where you are on that. Yeah. So I'm troubled that this isn't part of the conversation. So I did talk to someone from Levels. I had my 15-minute "do you want to be a partner" talk.
Heck yes. Wait, walk us through this, Selena.
Okay. I just one night I signed up for maybe being a partner for Levels and pushing their product. And then I heard from someone there and did a 15-minute interview.
Yes.
And I have to say this guy was really nice. And maybe it was the glasses that made me like him more. And he was curious about some of my questions and had an open mind, but I think they really believe in what they do there.
Yeah.
But I did ask him, like, is there any way to hide calories? Because I don't necessarily feel comfortable sharing this with people with disordered eating or eating disorders. And he said that was a very interesting comment and that no one had ever brought it up. And he works with a lot of dietitians. So yeah, I would actually enjoy seeing a version of an app that went with the CGMs. Yeah. That was very friendly to not being obsessed with calories or, just tracking protein, tracking fiber. That makes sense to me. I'm sure that's not good for everyone, but like for me, I could do that. But yeah, I think we would need to hide the calories.
I feel 100% that way about the app that I am using.
Yeah, and to use their own logic, especially when they're saying not all calories are equal.
Ooh, because yes.
Yeah.
Good call. What else did you learn from that call?
Okay, so from that call, I did learn that Casey Means has not been involved in the day-to-day for 3 years with Levels. I didn't really learn a whole lot else. I actually ended the conversation after like 10 minutes because I was like, oh, I don't know about this.
I love that you were in it, though. Were you thinking about it? Maybe I will become a partner?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think my public health department would go for that, or the grant that I work on would not like that experimental science.
Gotcha.
So, can we talk about RFK and
Wearables?
the Take Back Your Health campaign a little bit?
Do it.
Okay. So yeah, one thing that's funny about that video is he's always going into these like personal anecdotes of I have friends who wore a glucose monitor and it changed their life.
I've personally had friends who've utterly changed their lives just from wearing a glucose meter.
But he's always got these experiences from like being in private school and being a Kennedy that other people should relate to. But I do know that after that, he did come out and say that to Axios, he said that maybe these CGMs aren't for everyone because of concerns like cost and personal privacy. So maybe he's rolling back getting every American a CGM within 4 years because of the cost. I don't know. I don't know. So maybe just the deserving people will get them. In that recording, he said we're about to launch the biggest advertising campaign in HHS history. So that was very interesting to me. So I went and found the request for proposal or the RFP in which they gave people like a week to apply for it. So it'll be interesting to see what they get. But they said they're gonna launch a series of bold, edgy national campaigns with innovative messaging to inspire and empower Americans to reclaim control over their health. And we know we love that language. It makes it very personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they want to popularize technology like wearables as cool, modern tools for measuring diet impact and taking control of your own health. And they said they want to do this in a similar fashion to like stop smoking campaigns that have been done in the past. There's been a lot of those that have just been scary and not successful. So it'll be interesting to see if they emulate something like that. But I did get the real impression from reading this that they want to be bold. They want to reach the influencers. They want to scare people. And then they also want to have a hub to equip Americans with the tools for behavior change. And they did say on here that they will have the updated dietary guidelines as part of that. So this might be their new version of My Plate, which is a Take Back Your Health campaign. And I will let the listeners know that I own takebackyourhealthcampaign.com and .org. So if anyone wants to collaborate on doing something fun, let me know.
My vision for you is that HHS will want that website and will pay you $10,000 for it, maybe $40,000.
Yeah, I want maybe more.
I think
Casey
more.
And Callie could pay me from their own checkbooks.
Yeah, because that'll have really good SEO on it. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for you.
Thank you.
Anything that you think I or the listeners should know or keep in mind as you've been doing this for a little bit?
I want to be able to have a nuanced conversation about this because I know you and I don't like food rules.
No.
And there's a lot of people in the quote unquote anti-diet space that would just want to say like, eat the cake and do the thing, eat the cookie, right? And I agree with that. And I'm also wondering if it's more nuanced than that. And I look forward to seeing that and maybe finding some way that I can engage with this device that might actually be helpful to me and not feel like I'm a bad, Haze practitioner or something.
Yeah, I think it's good. I am interested in whether or not ketogenic diet provides a like pseudo control if like stress and sleep really do cause a like increase in blood sugar that would like lead to a seizure. Not saying that I do want to have one, but I kind of want to have one, especially because I'm only going to do this for a month because it's expensive. Yes, if I have a seizure, will that be a direct result of like sleep, stress, or like something that's triggering? Because that has historically been the reasons that I've had seizures in the past. And yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Or the stress of someone thinking you work the craft table when you don't work.
Right? Or yes, just getting emails about people thinking that I am killing myself and teaching people how to die by eating ultra processed foods. Yeah.
Yeah, check 15 minutes after you get that and see if it tells you anything.
They do sometimes pop up or in comments. Maybe I should just go back to that Time magazine article or Casey's, the Instagram posts there, and just scroll through. That would be so cool, actually, to see what happens if blood sugar changes.
I know once I was in a family healthy weight program meeting, which those programs suck, in case I didn't mention that, and that my blood glucose went just spiked completely based on just the stress of being the only person, one of two people in that meeting that was advocating for a weight neutral approach.
So for folks who aren't dietitians out there, the reasons that would happen for me as somebody who's not eating a lot of carbohydrates is because it would be shot out of my liver, because I do have some and will have some blood sugar.
Yeah, your
I need
cortisol,
it.
Yeah, your cortisol would go wild and cause glucose to be released into your blood.
Yeah. So we'll see. Selena, thank you for coming on both this podcast and journey with me. It's going to be great.
Yes, I think doing this journey with you will make it tolerable. If I was doing it alone, it would not make me feel good.
Yeah. Might make me feel a little compulsive, but having somebody to laugh at the whole process with is what I think is going to make it tolerable, for sure.
Absolutely. And screenshot all the stuff that AI comes up with, please.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it. Selena, Thanks for coming back on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks so much to Selena for coming back on the show and joining me on this wild ride. I mentioned 2 updates, and I'm happy to share that Megan Saichi has decided to join this month-long exploration. If you're interested in joining, please do. We'll come back in a month with our thoughts. Follow along on social media to see weekly updates and levels fails. On day 1 of using the Levels app, I found 3 fails. The other update is that Lexi is back at UC Davis doing her residency in neurology and neurosurgery. I got to talk to her in person about this month-long exploration, and she basically scoffed at it. She told me that I needed to do at least 2 months, ideally more, to gather data. She's next week's guest, and we'll tell you why. She has things to say about my health, my brain, my quality of life, and of course, keto. It's quite the conversation. Until next time, friends, share your personal health data with a stranger and make it awkward. This has been Making Awkward. I'm Jessica Wilson. You can email the show at makingitawkwardpod@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram at jessicawilson.msrd. You can join the Patreon linked in the show notes. This show is edited by Jen Jacobs, who is incredibly optimized. You can rate it, review it, subscribe to it, share it with a friend. Yeah, follow along. It's going to be a wild ride. It's the production of Body Politics, supported by the Legacy of Sacramento Outboard Services.